I'm so grateful to David. He was willing to drive that big truck because I don't know if I could have done it.
That was a very, very long.
It's strange how silence can speak louder than words. For years, Robyn Brown let her soft voice and trembling chin tell the story of a woman caught in the middle, faithful, fragile, and just trying to fit into a family already full of history and pain. She cried on cue, nodded through every hard conversation, and always reminded the cameras she believed in plural marriage. But behind that carefully composed face, something never quite added up. Hi, friends. I'm Sarah, and welcome back to TLC Sister Wives Recap, the place where we peel back the surface and look at the stories this family doesn't always want us to see. If you've been following along, you know this isn't about drama for the sake of drama, it's about truth. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, drop a comment below, and let me know. When did you first start questioning Robyn's sweetheart act? Because here's the thing. The cracks were always there. The tears? Too frequent. The helplessness? Too rehearsed. And the chaos that followed Robyn's arrival? Too consistent to ignore. From the moment she joined the Brown family, things shifted. Not overnight, not all at once, but slowly, subtly, like a thread being pulled from a tightly woven sweater. You don't always see it at first, but by the time you notice the whole, it's already too late. TLC painted Robyn as the outsider, the new wife, the last to join, the one with the most to prove. But episode after episode, season after season, something kept coming through. It wasn't what she said. It was what she did, or didn't do. The way she held back, the way she positioned herself, the way she always seemed to be the exception to every rule, while the rest of the wives were expected to bend. And through it all, Robyn kept repeating the same message. She just wanted peace. She wanted the family to work. She believed in the principle. But the evidence started telling a different story. A story where Robyn wasn't just another wife trying to fit in. She was a woman, slowly becoming the only one who mattered. By the time we reached the later seasons, the picture was clearer than ever. Robyn wasn't misunderstood. She was calculated. And for those of us paying attention, it stopped feeling like a coincidence and started looking a lot more like a plan. There was a moment in Sedona that changed everything for me. If you've watched the show for long enough, you know how rare it is to see this family all together, really trying, really showing up. The marriage retreat in season 6 was supposed to be one of those rare times. It had the potential to be healing, honest, maybe even redemptive. But instead, it became something else entirely. Because while everyone else leaned in, Robyn leaned away. The Sedona retreat was set up to bring emotional clarity and healing through group therapy, but almost instantly, Robyn's body language turned stiff. Her eyes darted. Her discomfort was so loud you could feel it through the screen. And when Nancy, the female therapist, started asking real questions, not sugar-coated, not filtered, Robyn practically shut down. She claimed her back hurt and skipped a full session. But to those of us watching, it didn't feel like pain. It felt like panic. Hi again, it's Sarah from TLC Sister Wives Recap, and I have to say this episode hit different. Because therapy, as uncomfortable as it can be, is about growth. It's about facing your part in the pain. But Robyn didn't want growth. She wanted control, and she wanted that control without ever having to explain herself, just like always. And then there's the way she watched Christine. Every move, every word. It's subtle, but it's there. You can see it when Christine shares openly and Robyn flinches. You can feel it when Kody shows even a shred of admiration for Christine, and Robyn's face hardens just slightly. Back in season 1, Kody joked that Robyn should ask Christine how to make his eggs. And Robyn's reaction was sharp. It was small, but unmistakable. From the very start, Christine wasn't just another wife to Robyn. She was the threat. And it wasn't just Robyn resisting therapy. Kody jumped right on that bandwagon too. The minute Nancy started challenging his authority, he called her out. Not for being wrong, but for being a woman. He literally said he didn't want a feminist perspective. That wasn't about therapy. That was about control, about not being questioned. So there they were, the two people in the family who most needed accountability, and they were the only ones refusing to show up for it. What could have been a turning point turned into a performance. And in hindsight, that retreat didn't fall apart because the family was broken. It fell apart because the ones holding the power refused to look in the mirror. There's something deeply unsettling about watching someone deny something you saw with your own eyes. That's exactly what happened with Robyn and the personality test. Now, if you remember, this wasn't some side note in an episode, it was filmed. We watched Robyn take the test, we saw it. Christine even mentioned the results, saying they described Robyn as someone who thrives on drama. Not exactly flattering, but certainly telling. And what did Robyn do? She denied it ever happened, claimed she never took the test. Then, in a bizarre twist, suggested maybe Christine had taken it for her. Wait, what? How does that even make sense? If you've ever felt gaslit by a reality TV character, that moment was it. She didn't just twist the truth, she erased it completely, expecting no one to notice. But we did. Hey friends, it's Sarah again from TLC Sister Wives Recap. And I gotta say, this wasn't just a lie, it was a tactic. Because if Robyn could convince people that even filmed facts weren't reliable, she could control the narrative, rewrite history, and play the victim all at once. That's not confusion, that's calculation. The same pattern showed up during the Sedona Retreat's group therapy sessions. Robyn wasn't just uncomfortable, she was evasive. She didn't want the group digging too deep, especially when the focus shifted to real emotional accountability. She skipped a session and then played it off like she just wasn't sure about therapy. But skipping out after the sessions had already started, that wasn't uncertainty, that was avoidance. And then came the group art therapy exercise. If you blinked, you might have missed it. But there she was, placing herself between Kody and Mary. A simple move, but symbolically powerful. She inserted herself between the first wife and the man they all shared. It was subtle, quiet. But Robyn knew exactly what she was doing. This was a woman who never raised her voice but always managed to take up space, who claimed she wanted unity but always seemed to end up at the center, even when the moment wasn't about her. Again and again, she twisted things just enough to come out looking like the one left behind, when really she was always a step ahead, steering from the shadows. When it comes to money and real estate, actions speak louder than tears. And Robyn Brown's actions during the Vegas home sales said more than any of her emotional interviews ever could. The family had packed up their lives in Las Vegas and moved to Flagstaff with big dreams and even bigger financial pressure. But one thing kept dragging everything down: Robyn's house. While the other wives were scrambling to list and sell, Robyn, she stalled, delayed, waited. And when the rest of the family started to question the holdup, she claimed she couldn't list her house because she had a family reunion planned. Almost a year later. A year. That's not a scheduling conflict. That's a strategy. Hi friends, it's Sarah again with TLC Sister Wives Recap. And this part of the story always gets under my skin. Because while everyone else was shouldering the weight of 4 mortgages, Robyn's home just sat there, unpacked, unlisted, and unpaid for by her alone. The kicker? There were strong hints that the mortgage may have been covered with shared family funds. If that's true, then Robyn was building equity on the backs of the very women she would later watch walk away. Janelle was especially vocal during this time. She stepped down as the family's real estate agent after dealing with too much emotional fallout. She was trying to move forward, trying to make smart financial decisions, but she couldn't, because everything was hinging on Robyn. And Mary? She held off on listing her own property, waiting for Robyn to move first. That hesitation wasn't loyalty. It was paralysis. No one wanted to move forward without unity, but Robyn held the keys, literally. What made it worse was the lack of urgency. Robyn cried about money, claimed they were drowning in bills, but her actions didn't match her words. The house had already been packed into 4 moving trucks. It was ready. But still, she dragged her feet. And while she clung to her property, everyone else was forced to tighten their belts, sacrifice, and wait. This wasn't just a real estate issue. It was a power play. A slow, quiet move that gave Robyn all the control without ever having to raise her voice. And for the rest of the family, it became yet another moment of realizing that when Robyn's comfort was at stake, everything else, and everyone else, took a back seat. Logan Brown's graduation should have been a proud, peaceful day, a family milestone to celebrate the oldest child's achievements. But instead of joy, it turned into chaos, frustration, and yet another moment that showed just how far Kody and Robyn had drifted from the rest of the family. Kody was frantic, rushing, confused about directions,